What do you do when your $1,000 only turns into $1,050? When your friends are flying first class and your portfolio looks like it's frozen? Harry was there. He almost gave up 3 times. But the 5 stages of compounding don't reward the early winners. They reward survivors. Most people think compounding is just math, charts, calculators, interest formulas. But the real compounding journey, it's psychological warfare. It's waking up every day to do the right thing, while feeling like nothing is working. In this video, I'm walking you through the 5 emotional stages of compounding and showing you exactly how Harry survived all of them, while 90% of investors quit. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. I'm going to walk you through Harry's exact journey, the investment strategy that transformed him from a skeptical beginner into a passive income machine, and most importantly, the emotional stages that nearly destroyed him before making him wealthy. Here's what no one tells you about wealth. It's not just about choosing the right ETFs. It's about surviving the silence. Compounding doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with doubt, boredom, and months where nothing seems to happen. That's why most investors never make it past stage 1. You're investing every month. You're doing everything right. But 6 months in, a year, 2, your portfolio barely moves. Harry's $1,000 became $1,050, and it felt like an insult. Meanwhile, his friends were posting from Bali, buying cars, upgrading everything. And Harry? He felt like the only idiot choosing patience over pleasure. But compounding isn't loud. It's quiet power, building invisibly until it changes your life. The catch? You only see it if you don't quit. Stage 1. Test of faith phase. The zero phase. This phase is suffocating. Harry had done everything right, but the rewards felt non-existent. He was checking his balance every day, wondering what the hell all the hype was about. This is the test of faith phase. Not in numbers, but in mindset. Compounding by nature starts slow. The first few years are meant to frustrate you. They're meant to weed out the impatient. They're meant to see if you deserve the reward at the end. Harry's lifeline became SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. This beast wasn't about explosive growth, it was about survival. With $71 billion in assets under management and a steady 3.8% dividend yield, SCHD became his psychological anchor. But here's what saved Harry's sanity. SCHD's 10.9% 5-year dividend growth rate. Even when the stock price felt frozen, those quarterly dividend payments kept rolling in. Every 3 months, proof that something was happening. Harry also added VYM, Vanguard's high dividend yield ETF. With $62 billion in assets and a 2.6% yield, VYM provided the emotional stability he desperately needed. Those quarterly deposits weren't just money. They were validation that his financial planning wasn't a joke. The zero phase typically lasts 12 to 24 months. Your portfolio feels stuck. Your friends think you're crazy. But those reinvested dividends are quietly building your foundation, even when you can't see it yet. Most people can't handle it. They think the system is broken. Harry almost became one of them. Stage 2. Spark phase. The first taste. Month 19 changed everything. Harry checked his investment portfolio and something was different. The gains were slightly more than what he'd contributed. Not much. But for the first time, his money was making money. This is the spark phase, where compounding gives you your first taste of its power. And that taste? It's addictive. Harry's game changer was DIVO, the Amplify Enhanced Dividend Income ETF. This isn't your grandfather's dividend fund. DIVO uses a covered call strategy that generates an incredible 4.6% yield paid monthly. While his friends were waiting for their bi-weekly paychecks, Harry was getting dividend payments every 30 days. Those $4.77 billion in assets prove that sophisticated investors understand something powerful. The psychological impact of consistent cash flow can't be overstated. But Harry didn't stop there. He added DGRO, the iShares Dividend Growth ETF, with $32.8 billion in assets and a 7.6% 5-year dividend growth rate. DGRO focuses on companies that consistently raise their payments. This stage is deeply emotional, not because you've made a lot of money, but because you finally feel seen. The effort you put in, the sacrifices you made, the nights you chose to budget instead of spend, they're starting to make sense. You finally believe it's working. The spark phase triggers your internal shift. You stop. needing to see results every day. You stop checking the charts constantly. It's not about instant gratification anymore, it's about the process. You're learning to trust time. If this is hitting home for you, smash that like button. It helps more investors discover these life-changing insights. Stage 3. Momentum phase. The identity shift. By month 32, something extraordinary happened. Harry's portfolio hit $28,400, but he'd only contributed $16,000. The extra $12,400? Pure compound growth and dividend reinvestment. This is the momentum phase, where your financial snowball starts rolling downhill. Your money is now making money. You're no longer just saving, you're scaling. Harry made his boldest move yet. VTI, Vanguard's total stock market ETF. With a massive $517 billion in assets and rock-bottom 0.03% expense ratio, VTI captures the entire U.S. stock market's momentum. The psychology here is crucial. In earlier stages, Harry needed the comfort of steady dividends. Now, with a larger base, he could handle VTI's modest 1.2% yield, because the capital appreciation was accelerating everything. But Harry's secret weapon was QQQ, the Invesco QQQ Trust. This $200+ billion NASDAQ 100 tracker delivered incredible 5-year returns of 140%. The 0.5% dividend yield is tiny, but the growth? Explosive. This stage is about identity transformation. You stop looking for quick wins and start thinking in decades. You realize how powerful your position is, not because you're lucky, but because you were disciplined during the zero phase. Harry's friends were still grinding paycheck to paycheck, but he could feel he was getting closer to something bigger every day. His relationship with money transformed from survival to strategy. You begin to see yourself differently. You've tapped into something 99% of people never stick with long enough to experience. Stage 4. Snowball phase. Financial freedom. Month 48 was Harry's watershed moment. His portfolio crossed $85,000, but here's what blew his mind. His quarterly dividends exceeded $800. For the first time, his money was working harder than he was. This is where the game changes forever. You've crossed a line where compounding no longer requires you. Harry's strategy shifted toward income optimization. Enter JEPI, JP Morgan's Equity Premium Income ETF. This actively managed beast delivers an incredible 8.4% forward yield through covered calls on S&P 500 stocks. With $25 billion in assets, JEPI proves that institutional investors understand something powerful. At this stage, consistent passive income becomes more valuable than pure growth. But Harry didn't stop there. He added SPYI, the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF. This fund delivers a mind-blowing 12% yield through sophisticated option strategies. 12%. The psychological shift is profound. You wake up and no longer have to work. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Time becomes your most valuable currency. Harry's monthly dividends weren't just numbers on a screen anymore. They were becoming life-changing cash flow. Month 54, his quarterly dividends hit $1,100. He realized that in just 2 more years, his passive income could cover his mortgage payment. This phase brings the rarest form of success, silent success. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You know you've won a game that most people never even understood how to play. Your net worth grows even when you take breaks. Your wealth works harder than you do. You've crossed the threshold most people dream about, true financial independence. Stage 5. Legacy phase, generational wealth. 7 years in, Harry's portfolio reached $340,000. But the real milestone? His annual dividend income hit $18,200. He wasn't just building wealth anymore, he was building legacy wealth that could last generations. This is the legacy phase, where your wealth is no longer just for you. Harry's cornerstone became VEG, Vanguard's Dividend Appreciation ETF. With $92.3 billion in assets and a focus on companies with 10+ years of consecutive dividend increases, VEG represents quality that endures across generations. The emotional component is profound. VEG holds dividend aristocrats, companies like Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, and Procter & Gamble that have raised dividends for decades. Harry wasn't just buying ETFs anymore. He was buying pieces of America's most enduring businesses. But here's where Harry got strategic. He started adding individual legacy stocks for emotional connection. Johnson, and Johnson with its 61-year dividend growth streak and 3.1% yield, the stock that grandparents buy for grandchildren. Apple with its massive buyback program and 0.5% yield, the company that bridges old and new economy wealth. Microsoft with 21 years of dividend increases and 0.65% yield, the tech giant building tomorrow's infrastructure. This phase changes your view on time, life, and what really matters. Your investments can now fund generations, pay off your grandchildren's tuition, and erase your family's debt forever. You've broken generational cycles. Your children don't start at zero. They start where you left off, but with education. Let me destroy your excuses with real numbers. Harry invested just $500 a month for 7 years, $42,000 total. Today, his portfolio sits at $340,000, paying $18,200 in annual dividends, or $1,517 per month. And at an 8% dividend growth rate, that income could double every 9 years, even without adding another penny. But here's the truth most investors miss. Each stage of compounding demands a shift in identity. Stage 1 is suffocation, when $1,000 becomes $1,050 and it feels like a joke. Stage 2 is addiction. Your money finally makes money. Stage 3 is transformation. You start thinking in decades. Stage 4 is freedom. Your portfolio earns more than your job. Stage 5 is legacy. Your wealth outlives you. SCHD, DIVO, VTI, JEPI, VIGs. The tickers change, but the mindset matters more. Most people quit during stage 1, but if you trust the whisper of compounding, you'll build something no one can take from you. Harry turned $500 a month into $340,000 in income-producing assets, not through luck, but by surviving the emotional war of compounding. This video is educational only. All investments carry risk. Do your own research. Compounding rewards the patient. It punishes the impulsive. It works quietly while others chase noise. Most quit before it kicks in. Don't be most people. Which stage are you in right now? Drop a comment below and subscribe if you're ready to stay in the game long enough to win.